really want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Appreciate your interest in the Social Enterprise Fund and appreciate your curiosity about the types of opportunities that we think there are to apply things here in our local market. And we want to do two things really tonight. We want to provide a clear distinction for what social enterprise is compared to some other ways to get things done in the world. And there is going to be a call to action. So Bob has several million reasons that you might want to chat to him or introduce some friends to him. But Antoine will give you some more specific information about different ways that you can get engaged and support what's going on. So let's take a look at what social entrepreneurship looks like and social enterprise looks like in different parts of the world.
Okay, well, so we'll start with a bit of a perspective on the ground level. This is Efigenia. Efigenia has been a rubbish collector in a city in Brazil called Curitiba for about 20 years. And what's special about Efigenia is that she's not a homeless person. She is an environmental entrepreneur. So Curitiba is famous for dozens of social innovations that they've implemented over the last 30, 40 years. It's a city that, from the municipal level, approaches community with the perspective of social enterprise. And what they've done, one of their programs is the waste management system that effectively allows for a whole community of micro entrepreneurs to be engaged in collecting and sorting and recycling what they call the rubbish that is not rubbish. And the result of that is they have a very efficient recycling service. They actually have higher recycling rates than comparable cities in North America and in Europe. They have a higher quality service to their citizens. They have lower costs because they don't need as much trucks to pick up all the rubbish. And also very interesting is the efficiency of and the adaptation of the system. It's an organic, responsive system to market demand. Curitiba is a growing city. As the city grows, people organically come in to fill spots and fill demand and to manage the recycling issue. And it's not only happening in Brazil. There's a program in Vancouver that's called United We Can that was started in large part by a collective of street people. And United We Can is now the largest bottle recycling depot in British Columbia. They generate revenues of $2.5 million a year and employ 150 residents of East Hastings. They serve binners, 700 to 900 binners every day, like this man Joseph. And they're creating an impact in their community. They're leveraging the power and innovation and the engagement of citizens of East Hastings and their spin-off programs. They have repair shops and they have an urban farm that they've developed. They were hired by the Olympic Games to keep high traffic pedestrian areas clear of rubbish. So it's the power of the people in the street being engaged to serve the community and also to take initiative. On another scale, you might have heard of Mondragon Corp. Mondragon is the largest cooperative in the world, based in Spain. They employ over 85,000 employees, and it's composed of about 256 companies. So the companies are not necessarily inherently social or environmentally oriented. But what's special about Mondragon is that every one of the 256 companies is a cooperative. So that means the equity of the companies is held by the employees. And it creates a different culture around enterprise where there's a strong focus on social equity, environmental stewardship, community development, and just a very strong community spirit in that area of Spain and the Basque. And they offer all kinds of services, construction, consulting. They build bridges. This is one of the bridges they built. And so social enterprise can take many forms. It can take forms that are on the ground dealing with social issues like homelessness, poverty, and it can also take on forms of community development and economic development in a cooperative way that is innovative and engaging.
So the concept of being an entrepreneur can be applied in a lot of different places, obviously. So in this room, who considers themselves to be an entrepreneur or have done something entrepreneurial in your past? Okay, good response. Thank you. That's what we're expecting. That's why you're here. So to me, an entrepreneur is someone who takes on a significant component of risk in trying to create something in the world that hasn't happened before. And I think that most of you probably know people out there who sometime in the near future might need a combination of financial capital, human capital, and resources and expertise to make something happen. So people who are social entrepreneurs can come from a lot of different places, and we're starting to see some of the range that they can apply that in. If we would have started the night and told you that it can be applied to increased employment for homelessness or disadvantaged people, or for recycling, you probably would have said, yeah, I think it could probably do that. If we would have said it could encompass 256 corporations and 85,000 people, that might be a surprise. It might be news to you. So one of the things we want to, I guess, illuminate for you is the level of sophistication. So this is Kazuo Taniguchi, and he is the mayor of Curitiba. And I didn't memorize the full quote, so I'm going to give the rest of it now. So no matter how well run we are, we still would not have all the resources we need. We can only get those resources by mobilizing more people to participate and take co-responsibility for devising solutions. We cannot organize in linear ways because people do not live their lives in straight lines. So there's a couple of concepts that don't always coexist together, and we want you to think about this unique combination within social enterprise. So if a social enterprise concept can transform a city in Brazil, and if at the same time in Toronto it can fill the Air Canada Centre with thousands of screaming teenagers, there's some power there. So if you have time later, go to the Me to We site and hear their story of a Minga. A Minga is the community coming together for the better of all. And the people who launched this had an experience with that, and they found out it wasn't an easily translatable word. But what they've done is they've started effectively a social entrepreneur training ground. It's a profitable business through selling clothing, music, and books, and delivering leadership seminars. So they have hundreds of thousands of teenagers who have participated in an event or in leadership training, and they've combined that with social aspects, education, and leadership. So we want you to think about what an entrepreneur is going to look like. They could be coming from a corporate background and have been involved in corporate social responsibility, and then they want to take that to the next level. They may have been involved in a nonprofit, and they're looking for ways to get off of the grant funding cycle that might be limiting them. They might be extremely young and have not done anything in the business world before, and they might not know any better, right? So I want you to look at this and see if you see yourself there now or in the past, and if you see yourself in any of these pictures for the people that you might know in your network.
So like any business, social enterprise is designed to serve a purpose, either delivering some kind of product to market or generating some kind of social or environmental benefit. And as such, it requires capital, just like a for-profit business would. The investment of capital in an enterprise is motivated by differing factors. They may be, in the case of a for-profit business, to generate a return on your investment, a financial return. And in the case of a social enterprise, the motivation for investment is to create that social benefit. So we'll take a look at for-profit. Start with the cash flow. The investment is coming into the company. A marketable product or service is delivered to the market, and revenue is generated from sales, and investment is extracted in the form of dividends or some other return, and the maximum possible financial benefit is extracted from the business. In a conventional nonprofit model, capital is invested, and there's some kind of social benefit that's delivered, and then more capital is invested in the form of donations and grants. And as long as the funding of the nonprofit venture is maintained, the social benefit is maintained. If the financing or the funding or the donations stop, then the social benefit ceases. So hopefully by the time you've got to that point, you've achieved your objective with the nonprofit. In the social enterprise model, there's capital investment that's made, and a social benefit is produced, but it's done in such a way that there's revenue generated, and that revenue helps to sustain the enterprise. And properly designed, a social enterprise should be completely self-sustaining. And as you saw there, the investment, the original invested capital is withdrawn from the enterprise. Originally, it might have been made in the form of a loan or some kind of capital investment. That capital is withdrawn again and can be used to fund another social enterprise or can be reinvested to expand the operations of the existing social enterprise. So that is really the distinguishing characteristic when we look at how investment is treated in a for-profit versus in a social enterprise. Investment is motivated in a for-profit business by the objective of maximizing financial return on investment. Investment in a social enterprise is motivated by creating the maximum social benefit.